are issuing subpoenas and holding the Attorney General in contempt, but as a practical matter, do those measures have any teeth behind them that will really compel the administration to comply with your requests?
Well, thank you for your question. I'm very proud of the work of our committees and our chairmen. They are patriotically, not passionately or not politically or in any way going forward, following the facts, leading to subpoenas, and then when they are ignored, perhaps contempt or to go directly to court. That's up to the committee chairs to give us their guidance, because they have worked so hard on this and they know the territory very well. If your question is, will the administration violate the Constitution of the United States and not abide by the request of Congress and its legitimate oversight responsibilities, well, that remains to be seen. Every day they are advertising their obstruction of justice by ignoring subpoenas and by just declaring that people shouldn't come and speak to Congress so that the American people can find out the truth about the Russian disruption of our election so that it doesn't happen again. So, yes, I do think it has, they have teeth. Yes, ma'am.
Speaker, can you update us on when you will schedule the contempt vote against AG Barr? And also, do you agree with Chairman Nadler that the country is currently in a constitutional crisis?
Yes, I do agree with Chairman Nadler, because the administration has decided that they are not going to honor their oath of office. Now, he's staked out because he has seen so much in the committee work. I'm very proud of the Judiciary Committee and the work that they have done. In terms of timing, when we're ready, we'll come to the floor. And we'll just see, because there may be some other contempt of Congress issues that we want to deal with at the same time.
And to follow up to that,
and he wants to do it as soon as possible, and so do we.
If you do agree that the country is in a constitutional crisis, doesn't that devalue the argument of also showing restraint? Doesn't that take away from the emergency element of that?
No, I don't think so. I think that what we want to do is get the facts. We want to do it in a way that is the least divisive to our country and the most productive. We're asking in the constitutional way for the administration to comply. We still have more opportunities. We'll see if Mueller will testify, and that will make a big difference in terms of where we go from here.
Madam Speaker.
But, Madam Speaker, if this truly is a constitutional crisis, how can that not change your thinking or the calculus regarding impeachment?
Well, we have investigations that will give us the facts and the truth. This is not about Congress or any committee of Congress. It's about the American people and their right to know, and their election that is at stake, and that a foreign government intervened in our election and the president thinks it is a laughing matter. It's appalling that this administration would not even pretend to want to protect our elections and, in fact, be an obstacle to our finding out more about how it happened so we can prevent it from happening again. And so, again, to look to history in the Nixon experience of whatever you want to call that, it was months of hearings and investigation before they got to a place where they had a compelling argument that even the Republicans had to go to the president and say, it's over. But you have to have, as I say, we follow the facts. You don't know this, but for 7 years I was on the Ethics Committee, and I really did pay my dues to the Congress of the United States. Everybody has to participate in some way so that we can have our Congress operate at the highest standard. But it is heavy lifting because you're making judgments about your colleagues. Nobody wants to do that. However, we were always instructed it's not about hearsay, it's not about politics, it's not about personalities, it's about the facts, the law, and in that case, the rules of the House. And that is the path that I am following. It's about the facts and the law. Now, as I've said yesterday, the president is almost self-impeaching because he is every day demonstrating more obstruction of justice and disrespect for Congress's legitimate role to subpoena. So we'll again, this is very methodical. It's very Constitution-based. It's very law-based. It's very factually based. It's not about pressure. It's about patriotism.
Madam Speaker,
Yes,
follow
Jan.
up on the question of power of contempt, though. When we've had some of these exercises on contempt in recent years, both sides have found it rather unsatisfying. I don't think the Republicans thought they got very far with Lois Lerner and Eric Holder. Your side, when you held Bolton and Myers in contempt, they didn't get Myers up for a closed-door interview until the next Congress and the Bush administration was out of office. So I want to clarify why you think that this, in fact, to use the term, has teeth, if it's going to be just another civil argument like we had in those 4 instances prior.
Because I do. I just do.
You think the courts are
Do
going to
you
rule
want to
different-
have a contempt of Congress against you? That is not a desirable thing for someone to have. And now we're not even talking about isolated situations. We're talking about a cumulative effect of obstruction that the administration is engaged in, and the president declaring that he is not going to honor any subpoenas from the Congress. So I support the path that our chairmen are on, and I do believe that it will establish the case for where we go from here.
Madam Speaker,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
also talked
This has to be the
about
last question because of the funeral. I'm
the
sorry.
president goading you into impeachment. How do you balance dealing with that impulse as you perceive it from the president and the kind of timing that you've talked about here about the methodical nature and knowing that the courts have their own time? And some of your members are quite anxious to see things moving expeditiously. How are you going to balance that?
We're going to do the right thing. That's just the way it is. And it is going to be based on fact and law and patriotism, not partisanship or anything else. I see in some of your metropolitan journals or other reporting that, it's political, they don't want to... It has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with e pluribus, what our founders, the guidance they gave us from any one. They couldn't imagine how many or how different we'd be. But they knew we had to be one. Impeachment is one of the most divisive things that you can do, dividing a country, unless you really have your case with great clarity for the American people. So what we want to do is balance, you're always balancing equities. The equity of the truth being made known to the American people. They are owed the truth. Uniting our country, keeping our country united when is one in furtherance of the other, or is one to the detriment of the other. That's a judgment that we have to make. And yes, there is some enthusiasm, but by and large, it's not as you act as sometimes people act. I'm not saying you, but sometimes people act as this: impeach or nothing. No, it's not that. It's a path that is producing results and gathering information. And some of that information is that this administration wants to have a constitutional crisis because they do not respect the oath of office that they take to protect and defend the Constitution, support the Constitution of the United States. 3 co-equal branches of government, separation of power. They don't support that, and that's what they're trying to, that is what, understand, because Chad used the right word, power. It's about power for them. And for the Republicans, as I said to you in a previous meeting, Barr, McConnell, Trump, their common bond, a special interest is in our country, whether it's the gun interest, whether it's the fossil fuel industry, not to paint everybody in one of those categories with the same brush. But I do paint Barr, McConnell and the president with the same brush, that they are here because they're anti-governance of any governance role in addressing climate change, addressing the epidemic of gun violence in our country, to name just two. So people have to understand what this means in their lives. Yes, it's an academic discussion in Washington, D.C. for some people, and we have the responsibility to protect and defend the Constitution. That's the oath we take. But people also have to know that there's a policy agenda that goes with it, which says we don't want any governance that's going to have protections for you and your life, whether it's the air your children breathe or the fact that gun violence is so rampant in our country and becoming such an occurrence that it breaks your heart. We passed our bill. We took action. It was an early priority. It was a promise we made. It's a promise we kept in the House. American people support gun violence protection. And Mitch McConnell says, Grim Reaper, dead on arrival. I don't think so. So again, this is not something that is just about their behavior and their obsession with holding power. It's about what that power in their hands means to the American people, and that's part of our fight as well. But whatever we think about policy, just to understand where we are, the fact is our judgment has to be on the facts of what they did in relationship to the law, and we will go forward with that. And we won't go any faster than the facts take us or any slower than the facts take us. Thank you very much.
All right.
Listening to
Yeah.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi,
Yeah.
who, for the longest time has said that impeachment is really not something that she wants to consider, that she really feels that you need bipartisan support to pursue that, and she doesn't believe that she would get that. But what she said yesterday and what she said today here was that increasingly she feels like the president is almost self-impeaching with his attempts, in her point of view, to frustrate Congress's oversight responsibilities.
Right. She says that she does agree that the country is, as Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee said, House Judiciary Committee said, that the United States is in a constitutional crisis over the Mueller probe. So we'll have to see where she, because she is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, decides to take it. Meanwhile,